What's up techies, I am really excited about presenting this review to you guys about the Moto Z Droid. It's one of the most unique devices that we have seen in 2016 and it's because of the mods. The mods are really cool and I'm going to get into that just a little bit later, so let's go over some specifications first because it really does come packed with some really good specs. The Moto Z Droid comes with a 5.5 AMOLED 2K screen, so it's a really good looking screen. You're able to see in daylight in pretty much any kind of conditions, whether it's dark or light. And it's something that I do appreciate about this phone because when I'm outside I can see everything that's on the screen, as well as when I'm in really dark conditions I can tone down that brightness and get it to just the right lighting. Another cool factor about the Moto Z screen is that it comes guaranteed. A few things that I want to touch on about the battery is that one, this thing is an extremely thin device. I'm surprised that they were able to fit this size of a battery inside of it. The battery life on the other hand, it could have been better, or let's just say I would want it better compared to other devices that I've had. For the most part, I could get through my entire day as far as the work day goes. When I got home, depending on how I used it throughout the day, I was probably going to have to throw on the charger. But the good thing about the Moto Z Droid is that it has turbo power, so in 15 minutes, you can get up to 8 hours of power. Out of the box, it comes with Android 6.0 Marshmallow, and we should see the new Nougat update coming really soon. This does support micro SD cards and it can get up to 2 terabytes. Now, we don't actually have a 2 terabyte SD card yet, but if that day ever comes, you'll be ready for it. The Moto Z Droid comes with a 13 megapixel camera on the rear and on the front a 5 megapixel camera. It does come with 32 gigs of internal storage and 4 gigs of RAM. It comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor. So that pretty much covers the basics of the specs, so let's get into what I like about this device. First of all, the build quality. The Moto Z Droid is a solid phone. It gives an old school tough Motorola vibe, which is really cool to me. This isn't the first time Moto has created an extremely thin device. Remember the old flip phone, the Razr, along with the smartphone Razr? Those are pretty thin, but this is definitely one of the thinnest we have ever seen in a while. All the materials feel and look premium. There's not an area on which it feels cheap or poorly constructed. Really good job, Moto. As I mentioned that this does come with Android Marshmallow, and it comes with the stock Android feel, but what Motorola does really well is kind of add some complementary features to add on top of stock Android. It still keeps the stock Android UI or the user interface, the looks of it, but they add a few things on that really just make the user experience great. And because Moto's skin is really light, it doesn't affect the performance at all. As a matter of fact, the performance is really good on this device. It's very snappy. The Moto Z Droid flies through tasks. Coming from the Note 7, it seems as though the Moto Droid zips right by the Note 7. Don't get me wrong, while using the Note 7, you don't necessarily notice any kind of hiccups at all, but when you're coming from the Note 7 to the device like the Moto Z Droid, you really notice that difference. As a matter of fact, Droid Model X did a side-by-side with the Note 7 and iPhone 7, along with other devices, and the iPhone blazes right by the Note 7, and it's because of the way it's optimized. But back to the Moto Z Droid, the experience has been great in regards of flying through apps and tasks. It's something to be appreciated. As I mentioned before, Motorola adds some really cool features that add to the user experience. Some of those are the camera options. If you want to quickly open a camera, all you gotta do is simply twist your wrist and it opens the camera from any screen. That's the lock screen or any app that you're in. Then you have the lock screen notifications and just little things like that that just really help the user experience out. Now obviously the Moto mods are definitely one of my favorite things about this, and I'll get into that in just a little bit. I want to go over what I don't like about the device first. This is actually one of the first devices that doesn't have a headphone jack. They kind of beat the iPhone to that, and it's not a direction that I necessarily agree with. For the most part, I do use Bluetooth as far as listening to music from my device if I'm like mobile, but if I'm in my car, I have an audio jack that I normally use. I don't have a car stereo system that has Bluetooth built in for music, so when I want to use Spotify, Google Play Music, or anything like that, I would plug in my phone. But I can't do that with the Moto Z Droid, and that was kind of frustrating, so I definitely got used to my local radio stations for a little while. Now button placement is a little off in my opinion. The buttons seemed a little too high on the device. I kind of got used to the fact of most companies now are putting them more towards the middle side or centered up with the side of the device. Either that or they put the volume buttons on one side and the power on the other. So there were times to where I felt like I had to reach up for the power or the volume rockers. Again, that's probably something I could just get used to, but I would just prefer them to be lower down on the device. Speaking of buttons, the home button is just kind of weird to me. The only function that it has is the fingerprint sensor. It unlocks the device from the lock screen, and it also does the normal fingerprint security. But this has on-screen buttons, so it just feels like it could do more, whether it's gestures or acting like a home button, because it just felt like I had to place my finger in two different spots to where it could be placed on one. I don't know, that could just be me, but it just seemed like it was just kind of awkward at times to use. Since we're down in that area, that chin is just too big for me, and it feels like it's not necessarily like a waste of space like we know on other devices, but it just seems like they could have done better actually with some capacitive buttons versus on screen, and give us some more screen real estate. The camera was another issue for me. Now, it's not a horrible camera, and Motorola is getting better with each release that they come out with, but the quality, just kind of depending on the conditions that you're in, there were just times to where the picture just did not look good at all. There was one time I was trying to record a video clip with the Moto Z Droid about another device, and I did the touch to focus, and as soon as I did that, the surrounding area around the subject, that phone that was in the picture, completely got bleeded out by white light. It was just horrendous looking. But for the most part, it works pretty good. And another first for me was the front-facing camera has an LED flash. And I forgot it was there one time, and I was taking a selfie with my son, and it flashed in front of our eyes. It was kind of a neat experience, and it's something that was definitely new to me. So yeah, I got my likes and my dislikes out of the way. Let's talk about the mods, because you got some pretty cool options here. First of all, you have the choice between the battery pack, the projector, the speaker, the backplate, and the camera. The only one that I didn't get to have any experience with is the camera mod. So I'll talk about the other guys instead. The battery pack and the speaker are two mods that I use the most and the ones that I would recommend. If you're running low on juice, all you gotta do is slap on the battery pack and it will get you about 70% more of battery life. It doesn't get you a full charge, but it gets you pretty close to it. There were quite a few times to where I found it really convenient to have that. I didn't have to tether to a battery pack or a charger of any sort. It was really nice to have. The speaker, on the other hand, it sounds pretty cool. It feels like a Bluetooth speaker, but it's like a 2-in-1 deal. You don't have to pair with anything, it just automatically works with it. It makes viewing videos that much better. Playing games really sound good. It's just a fun experience with that speaker on the back. The projector was pretty cool. It actually took me by surprise because I wasn't expecting the quality to look as good as it actually did. The hard part though is actually positioning the phone, and I only have a few white walls in my house, which one of them is my bedroom, the rest of them are like darker colors. So that does kind of pose a challenge. You're gonna have to have a background that will work with this. But when I did get to use it, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed using it. I couldn't see myself using it a lot, but you know, that's just me. You just have to kind of outweigh to see if this is something that you'd use on a regular basis. The backplate is just plain and simple. It's like a case or just a interchangeable backplate that you can change out from a wood feel, a Kevlar kind of feel, and different colors and whatnot. So it's nice to have. And if you don't want to rock a case and the back gets all scratched up, you can just buy another backplate and slap that on and make it feel like you get a brand new device. Now, like I said, I didn't get any experience with the camera mod, and it's something that I would definitely be interested in. If you have experience with that, let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you think about it, because I was really curious to find out what it would be like. I just didn't get the chance to actually use one. So yeah, guys, the Moto Z Droid is a pretty cool device. I really think Motorola did an awesome job with mods. As far as 2016 goes, this is definitely the best way to incorporate mods. LG attempted to do that, they failed, and as a matter of fact, they said that they're not going to even try again. So Motorola, hats off to you guys, because I think you guys nailed it, and I'm really looking forward to see what other kind of mods that you guys come out with. I really hope that they continue down the road and just add this really cool user experience using mods with our devices. If you're interested in getting the Moto Z Droid or the mods, I'll leave a link down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hit a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also, share this with your favorite social networks. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss any more videos like this. And until then, stay techie.